And viewers, if you are planning a trip to the hills this summer, you are not alone. Popular hill stations are witnessing a massive tourist rush, leading to record vehicle inflow and heavy traffic congestion. Shimla, the capital of Himachal Pradesh, has experienced a significant influx of tourists seeking respite from the heat in the plains, with nearly 1.8 million vehicles entering the city during May and June, according to Shimla Police. Additional Superintendent of Police, Shimla City, Mewar Panwar, said that approximately 700,000 vehicles entered Shimla in May, while over 1.03 million vehicles have been recorded in June so far, taking the total to around 1.8 million vehicle movement over the 2 months. Panwar also said that about 600,000 of these vehicles were from outside Himachal Pradesh, highlighting the scale of summer tourism. During the peak tourist months of May and June, Shimla police records over 18 lakh vehicles entering the hill city. To manage the surge, the police increased traffic duty staff from 136 to 265, with 50 civil volunteers and students also assisting to ensure smooth traffic movement.
इस समय गर्मी के महीने में शिमला में पर्यटन सीज़न अपने पीक पर है। इस समय मई और जून के महीने में लगभग 18 लाख वाहनों की आवाजाही दर्ज की जा चुकी है। मई के महीने में 7.5 लाख वाहन, जबकि जून के महीने में अब तक 10.5 लाख वाहन की आवाजाही दर्ज की जा चुकी है। 18 लाख वाहन में से लगभग 1/3 जो इसका हिस्सा है, 6 लाख के करीब वाहन ये बाहरी राज्यों से शिमला में एंटर हो रहे हैं। इसके अलावा भारी दबाव के चलते भी शिमला पुलिस ने एक 5 सूत्रीय रणनीति गठित की है, जिसके माध्यम से पर्यटन सीजन में ट्रैफिक को सुचारू रूप से चलाया जा रहा है।
Meanwhile, a heavy influx of tourists from other states driven by the 3-day-long weekend and the ongoing summer vacations has led to massive traffic congestion on the Dehradun-Mussoorie road as well. I'm being joined by Sanjay Razdan, Vice President of IATO. Mr. Razdan, welcome on the show. My first question to you will be that season after season, year after year, we see the same problem in the hills. We see this irresponsible tourism by the people. If this is not addressed with utmost urgency, in the coming years, I feel like there will be no place to go to, because we can see the amount of traffic congestion that we see, because if you're planning to go into the hills, you will be stuck in massive traffic and you are overwhelming the hills and the environment as well. Well, there is some technical issues there. Mr. Razdan will join us on the broadcast shortly. But as the visuals tell a drastic story of Shimla and other tourist destinations, as tourists flock in thousands of numbers, overwhelming the hilly destinations. And it's not just Shimla, it's a heavy influx of tourists from other states, and driven by the 3-day-long weekend and the ongoing summer vacations has led to massive traffic congestions, leading to pollution and other woes for the hills. Mr. Razdan is back with us on the broadcast. Mr. Razdan, my question to you remains the same, that season after season, year after year, we see this influx and this irresponsible tourism. We can see that there is a lot of traffic congestion at the airport, and we can see the visuals on your screens right now as we speak about it, that a lot of people, they go there irresponsibility. The police is trying to clear the traffic. Civil volunteers are helping to clear the traffic, but it's also the responsibility of the tourists as well to take the accountability and to make sure that they plan their holidays accordingly.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I fully agree to your sentiments that when tourists visit the hill stations, they are very eco-fragile places. And in the last 1 month, we have seen huge traffic inflow into these places, be it Shimla or Mussoorie or even some other places in Manali.
Well, if you're planning a trip to the hills this summer, you're not alone. Popular hill stations are overwhelmed and are witnessing a massive tourist rush, leading to record vehicle inflow and heavy traffic congestion. Shimla, the capital of Himachal Pradesh and destination for tourism, has experienced a significant influx of tourists seeking respite from the heat in the plains, with nearly 1.8 million vehicles entering the city during May and June, according to Shimla Police. Now, Additional Superintendent of Police in Shimla City has informed that 700,000 vehicles entered Shimla in May, and while over 1.3 million vehicles have been recorded in June so far. Long weekends and the ongoing summer vacations are causing and overwhelming the hills. The police has also informed that over 6 lakh vehicles were from outside Himachal Pradesh and are not from other states. Not just Shimla, other tourist destinations in the hills are experiencing the same problem, the same woes. The responsibility and the accountability lies not just with the police to manage the traffic, but also with responsible tourism as well. Massive inflow of tourists is creating pollution with long traffic jams and vehicle movement. This irresponsible tourism needs to be held and dealt with utmost urgency, because in the coming years there will soon be no place left where tourists can go to take shelter from the heat in the plains. This is the peak tourist months, as due to the summer vacations and long weekends and the heat in the plains are forcing people to seek shelter in the hills. But it's also important to keep the accountability and responsibility towards the environment as well. Season after season, year after year, we see the same story, same pain, and the same chaos through the visuals. Heavy inflow of tourists and heavy traffic and vehicular movement is damaging the hills, is creating pollution. Now, the Shimla police has recorded over 18 lakh vehicles entering the hill city. To manage the search, the police also increased the traffic duty staff from 136 to 265, and even civil volunteers, 50 civil volunteers including students, have also stood up to assist the traffic movement. But it seems like that nothing will be enough in the coming days if the traffic inflow continues like this. Well, this is not the story of Shimla alone. A lot of hill stations who are increasingly becoming the go-to destinations for tourists during the summertime is experiencing the same crisis. There was a time when a hill station vacation meant pine-scented air, quiet walks, steaming cups of chai with mountain views, but now it has become a completely different story. Tourists who are actually visiting the hill station are now stuck in heavy traffic jam due to the heavy inflow and the influx of tourists. Tourists are spending hours in bumper-to-bumper traffic while wondering whether they should have stayed back in plains. The North India and other parts of the country is sizzling under an unforgiving heat wave. Mr. Razdan is back with us on the broadcast. Mr. Razdan, please continue. As you were saying, how important it is to urgently address this inflow of traffic and to finally be a responsible tourist as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had a network failure. What I was saying is that, it has to be both sides. People have to be aware, people have to be educated well, and I think it's the duty of the authorities also to maintain that the traffic sense has to be imbibed into people who are traveling to these hills. I think we have seen this in the last few years. Post-COVID, it has been, the traffic to the hills has become more and more severe. I think the government agencies in the hills, I think they have to have some kind of a system where they allow a limited number of cars into the hills on a particular day, and it has to be advertised well so that people know and they don't just go and clog the roads at the entry of those hill stations. I think it has to be both sides. People have to be educated. People have to be made aware, as well as the authorities have to educate the people and make them aware that they can go to a point where everybody wants to go to beautiful places in the hills. But I think authorities have to come back and educate people not to travel in those huge numbers on. Maybe they can streamline the number of cars which can go to a particular place on a particular day.
Razan, but it's also important that the problem here is that you cannot ask people to not plan a holiday. Authorities are doing the best that they can do. They have increased the number of traffic staff as well. Even civil volunteers are now coming up to help with the traffic flow. But do you think, because hilly areas are not meant for modern traffic and are not meant for heavy influx of tourists that we are seeing right now, 1.8 million of vehicles coming into Shimla, and it's just not Shimla, it's other hill stations as well. How do you think that one can strike a balance? How can you educate someone and ask them not to plan a holiday at this moment?
See, I'm not saying that they should not plan a holiday, but as I always say, tourism is a double-edged sword. On one side, it brings prosperity to the locals. It brings prosperity to the local destinations where the people are going, but at the same time, it does definitely hit the the sustainability of the areas. People who go to these places have to be responsible. There's no other two words about it. People who are with, I'm not saying that people should be stopped. I think it should be planned in advance, like a few months in advance. People have to know on a particular day how many cars will be allowed, or maybe you make a permit system or something, because otherwise if this goes unchecked, you cannot stop people from going from plains to hills. It can become worse, because treating eco-fragile places like that, with so many cars going every day, so many people there. Unfortunately, people also litter at places. These places are eco-fragile places. We have to respect these places, and mountains have to be respected. If there is no regulation, I don't think people will be stopped. But it has to be planned in advance, a few months, so that people know when they will be allowed to go, so that they can plan accordingly.
What do you think, Mr. Razdan, can the authorities and the traffic police and the government can play the role in making sure that this is well planned? Do you think that there can be a system where, tourism can be managed a little better?
I don't think there's something which cannot be done. If the authorities want to do something to make people understand that why this has been done, I'm sure there's always a backlash, because people say that we want to go on a particular day or a date, or a particular month or a particular week, and they're not allowed to go. It can have a backlash, but it has to be. People have to be made aware why this is to be done. This is being done because people who actually are going on a particular, for example, if I have to go to, for example, Shimla or Manali, or someplace in Ladakh, and I have to be stuck in a traffic jam for hours, it's frustrating for the tourists also. So when the tourists understand, okay, on a particular day, they'll be allowed to go to this place, only certain number of people will be able to go, and certain number of cars will be allowed to go, and why it is necessary. But it has to be planned in advance so that people are made aware of this fact.
Well, that's right, Mr. Razdan. Myself, being somebody who lives in Dehradun, my home is in Dehradun. I have seen the kind of tourism that it comes with, and the heavy price that the hill has to pay for it. Because it's not just about the traffic congestion; it's also about tourists coming in, and if they'll eat something, they will just litter everywhere. And till the next season, the native people, the authorities are busy clearing and cleaning the hills so that the pollution can be controlled. Do you think that there should be some sense of responsibility towards tourists as well, that even if you're planning a holiday into the hills, even if you want to go for a peaceful time and take respite from the heat in the plains, there should be some accountability. There should be, because there are fines in place, there are a lot of things, but when there is such influx of tourists, it's very hard to pin accountability on one person.
See, I feel, again, I'm saying the same thing, that I am always for authorities to have some kind of regulations, because uh, sad but true that, Indian tourists do not understand well when they go to places as tourists. They do litter. I have been myself part of this campaign that people have to be responsible not to litter. They have to keep the places clean. As we say in our tourism, that leave nothing but footsteps and take nothing but pictures. So this
Correct.
is this is what has to be understood by people. And in Indian Association of Tour Operators, we have also started a campaign recently, which is called a Swachh Bharat Paryatan Abhiyan. So
Okay.
in this, we are trying to educate people. This education is definitely one. Secondly, like what we have seen recently in Ladakh, there were some vehicles which were behaving irresponsibly and spoiling the eco-fragile places, doing off-roading around, and and the authorities have come down heavily on them, and they had to pay very heavy fines. I'm sure it's going to leave a very strong precedence on people who visit these places, that they will
Right.
not do it in future.
Right.
Uh, Enforcement is definitely required. I mean, there are places where, for example, polythene is banned, single-use plastic is banned, polythene bags are banned. So, and people know that they cannot take polythene or single-use plastic to these places. And if they are taking these things, they'll be fined. So, see, on one side, education is important. On the other side, regulation is also very important, I feel.
Well, Mr. Razdan, since you have mentioned Ladakh, let me just quickly take viewers through what actually happened in Ladakh. The Ladakh administration has begun taking traffic action against the rising menace of illegal off-roading by tourists in ecological sensitive areas. Acting on the directions of Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena, authorities have for the first time started prosecuting offenders and imposing hefty penalties on those found driving vehicles inside protected lakes and wildlife habitats. On June 26, the Wildlife Department imposed a penalty of rupees 50,000 each on 4 vehicles for violating the Wildlife Protection Act. The vehicle owners belonging to Himachal Pradesh, Chandigarh, Punjab and Uttar Pradesh were found driving illegally onto Pangong Lake and other protected wildlife zones in Changtang and Nubra. The total penalty imposed amounts to rupees 2 lakh. While incidents of illegal off-roading and stunt driving have been increasing in recent times, this is the first time such stringent penalties have been imposed. All 4 vehicles were impounded during the investigation and released only after the penalties were paid off. The action followed violation detected during routine patrolling and through social media surveillance at Merak and Lukhang along Pangong Lake, Nurbola in Hanla and Sumur in Nurba Valley. Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena said that while Ladakh welcomes tourists from across India and the world, visitors must avoid entering protected wildlife habitats and such activities disturb endangered species, damage fragile ecosystems and harm the sanctity of tourist destinations as well. Among the recent cases, wildlife officials have found a Mahindra Thar being driven into the waters of Pangong Lake for stunt purposes near Merak. Separate viral videos also showed a Hyundai Creta driving off-road near Lukhang, another Mahindra Thar entering a stream inside the Karakoram Wildlife Sanctuary, and a Toyota Fortuner being driven off-road near Nurbula, where the driver was reportedly chasing a Tibetan gazelle. Subsequently, all 4 offenders paid rupees 50,000 penalty each and secured the release of their vehicles. The Lieutenant Governor has reiterated that off-road driving within or near protected area is a punishable offence under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and warned that strict action will continue against such violators. Mr. Razdan, we saw what happened in Ladakh. Do you think that imposing heavy and hefty fines will, it will make it easier to point out that accountability and make people aware that such kind of acts going into tourist destination while off-roading and while endangering wildlife will finally stop?
First of all, I am personally, I would say, deeply saddened by this such unruly and irresponsible behavior of these tourists
Absolutely.
in such an ecologically and culturally sensitive place like Ladakh. I am doubly disappointed because I represent Indian Association of Tour Operators, where we strongly advocate responsible and sustainable tourism, and I am myself personally a motorsports professional. Such actions being distributed to not only to tourism but also to off-roading community around India, which is I really feel it's highly irresponsible and kind of completely unacceptable behavior what these four tourists in these off-roading cars have done. Having said that, I certainly believe it's a welcome step and a much needed step by the Ladakh administration, and I would like to congratulate the Honorable LG of Ladakh and the authorities there for having taken such strict actions against these people who have violated uh, places which are very ecologically very sensitive. I have been traveling to Ladakh since 1990. Sorry, and I've seen I mean, Ladakh is so pristine and so beautiful,
Right.
and I don't know what comes into these people's mind, and they start driving in these such beautiful locales and spoil this. And I think strict enforcement is very essential at this point of time, and I'm sure this is going to serve a very strict message to people who visit Ladakh in their own cars and 4x4 vehicles, and I don't think they will dare to uh, repeat what these four car owners have done in Ladakh. I strongly condemn this action, and I request through your channel to all the off-roading communities in India to please educate their members or whoever is doing this not to do this when they visit such places which are so pristine, so beautiful, and ecologically sensitive. Not only Ladakh, I would say people should not do something like this. Any place which is ecologically sensitive in Himalayan regions
Right.
like Ladakh or even Spiti Lahore, Kinnaur, even
Right.
northeast of India.